So today, we'll go ahead and get started in a tabletop position. You can do this up against the wall if you're using a chair. Just make sure you don't have a rolly chair that pushes you away. But we'll start with tabletop. Toes can be tucked or untucked. Knees a comfortable distance apart. Hands shoulder widths distance apart. Fingers spread pressing into the mat with a neutral tabletop position. Flat back as much as possible. On an inhale, the belly expands, drops, and the head lifts for cow. And then on an exhale, we push the floor away, push the mat away, and round the back for cat. We'll take a few rounds of cat-cow here. Inhale, belly drops, head lifts. Exhale, push the floor away. One more round. Inhale. And exhale, push the floor away. Come back to a neutral tabletop position. And if you were here with us a few weeks ago, this one will be familiar, but for those of us who are just starting, the cue is we're going to lift our right arm and our left leg at the same time. So right arm stretches out in front of us. Left leg stretches back, almost like you could put that heel against the wall. We're trying to get some real cross body stretching across all of our different fascia that are interconnected through this part of the body. So right fingers go forward as much as possible. Left heel comes back as much as possible. And on your next breath, bring your elbow into your knee, get that cat rounding of the spine as much as possible. Inhale, stretch out. One more time. Exhale, let it all go. Return to tabletop. So maybe we're feeling a little looser on the right than the left. Whatever we do on one side, we do on the other. So on your next inhale, the left arm raises, presses out, almost like we're reaching out in front of us. And the right heel presses back to the back wall. Really trying to stretch the fingertips away from the heel as much as possible. Inhale, crunch in, round the back. Reach out one more time. Exhale, let it all go. Return to tabletop. Press back into the meaty parts of your palms. Untuck your toes and assume a modified child's pose. So child's pose is a rest position for you. It's available at all times as you are able. If you can come all the way down to the ground, that's great. To take the pressure off your shoulders, you can reach back and hold onto your heels. You can be seated on your heels or between your legs, whatever's most comfortable at this point in your practice. If you brought your hands back, bring them forward. We'll start in a neutral tabletop position. Tuck your toes, press into the mat, lift the knees slightly, and send the hips straight up for our first downward facing dog of the day. And since this is our first down dog of the day, take the time to pedal out your legs, get a little more comfortable, maybe nod your head yes, bring your chin to your chest, shine the eyes of your elbows forward, and just take a few breaths here. At the top of your third breath, walk, step, tiptoe, or float all the way to your hands, and we start in a forward fold. Bend your knees generously and remind yourself a forward fold is a low back stretch. So feel the asana in your lower back. Pike your hips up as much as possible. Bend your knees as much as possible, as much as you need to. And on an inhale, bend the knees and come up, reach up, gaze up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Hinge at the hips for forward fold. Bend your knees generously, pike up your hips. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on shins or hands on thighs, really getting the crown of your head forward and your tailbone away from you as much as possible. Bring your shoulder blades back if you've got your hands on your thighs. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Hinge at the hips. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And on an exhale, plant your hands and step back either to plank or tabletop. And then halfway lower or lower all the way. Untuck your toes. Press up to upward facing dog or baby cobra. And on an exhale, press all the way back to downward facing dog, where we'll be for 3 full breaths. Now this is your version of a sun salutation, so any modifications you want to make to this sequence is completely within your power. Maybe you just want to do cobra or tabletop instead of full chaturanga or upward facing dog. That's all okay, and you can vary it throughout your practice. But whenever we say vinyasa, we're asking you to take your version of a sun salutation. At the top of your next breath, walk, step, or float to your hands. We start in forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Hinge at the hips for forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands and take your version of a vinyasa. However you get there, we'll meet in downward facing dog, where we'll be for 3 full breaths. Maybe starting with your opposite foot first. Walk, step, or float to your hands. Start in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach all the way up. Gaze up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Hinge at the hips and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands and take your version of a vinyasa. No matter where you're at, take 3 full breaths. At the top of your 3rd breath, the right leg raises and presses back to the back of the room, just like we did when we first started. On an exhale, bring it forward to a high lunge, and then as you come up, the left heel comes down for our first warrior one of the day. Which is a great place to remind ourselves that asana translates as pose and not calisthenics. So let's get set up right. Right toes to the top of the mat, right knee over right ankle, left toes to about halfway to the top left-hand corner of the mat. Grab your hips, manipulate them forward, so much so that you could comfortably forward fold. And this is our stable warrior one base. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, cactus your arms, shine your chest up to the ceiling. Inhale, reach up. Let it all go. Interlace your fingers behind the small of your back or your tailbone. And on your next exhale, Fold forward, keeping your shoulder blades drawn down. Look out way ahead of your mat. If you need to lift your arms off your torso, great. If you'd like to rest them there and focus on your spine, that's great too. If you come down, just make sure that you haven't kicked out your right knee too far. For humble warrior. Inhale, comes it back up to center, let it all go. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, cactus your arms. Really feel into all four corners of both feet. Keep yourself honest on your warrior one. Inhale, reach up. On an exhale, windmill the hands all the way down. Assume that high runner's lunge where you started. Plant your hands. Send your right leg up and back and take your version of a vinyasa. To upward facing dog or cobra, and eventually pressing back to downward facing dog. Looks like I have a little visitor. At the top of your third breath, the left leg raises and presses back to the back wall. On an exhale, bring that foot forward. We start in that high runner's lunge. And then as you come up, the right heel comes down. And again, same deal here. Left toes to the top of the mat, left knee over left ankle. Right toes to the top, right hand corner-ish of the mat. Hips facing forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, cactus your arms. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, let it all go. This time interlace your opposite finger on top as you clasp your hands behind the tailbone or the small of your back. And on an exhale, fold forward, keeping your shoulder heads drawn down. Look way out and ahead of your mat for humble warrior on the second side, which may feel completely different than the other side. And inhale brings us back up to center. Let it all go. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, cactus your arms. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, windmill your hands all the way down. Assume that high runner's lunge where you started. Plant your hands. Send your left leg up and back. And take your version of a vinyasa. No matter how you get there, we'll all meet in downward dog and take 3 full breaths. At the top of your third breath, or when you are able, come down to that neutral tabletop position, untuck your toes, and press back into child's pose. Maybe now you can get your forehead down to the mat, maybe not. And to take the pressure off your shoulders, you can reach back and hold on to the heels. Just allow that time for your spine to settle into its place. And take a few breaths. On your next breath, bring your hands forward if they were back. Meet me in tabletop, and then roll off to the left or right hand side, where we'll get seated in the center of our mat. We're going to do a couple rounds of gentle back bends before closing out our practice with Shavasana. So go ahead and come all the way down to your back body, with your heels so close to your glutes that you can graze the heels with your fingertips when you reach down. Left hand on the heart, right hand on your belly will be your rest position. And we'll take a couple rounds of bridge pose to balance out our practice with some gentle back bends. To do bridge pose, put your hands on either side of your body, and on an inhale, just lift your hips straight up, pressing into all 4 corners of both feet. Your head isn't doing anything here, so if you're pressing hard into your cranium, invite yourself to loosen that up and press into your shoulders. To engage the shoulders more, you can clasp your hands together and draw your clasped hands towards your heels, or you can hold on to either side of the mat and try to pull the mat apart to engage the shoulders. All of our weight is really balanced between our four corners of our feet pressing into the mat and the upper part of our torso, not our head. On an exhale, come down to constructive rest. Left hand on the heart, right hand on the belly. And on your next breath, hands come down. On an inhale, bring your hips up. And if you clasp your hands underneath, maybe clasp them with the opposite finger on top, or try holding on to both sides of the mat and see if that causes your shoulder blades to engage in a different way. As you are ready, come down to constructive rest. Left hand on the heart, right hand on the belly. And we did that cross body stretch first thing. So let's do something to even things out. We'll do figure four from the ground. So keep your feet exactly where they are. I invite you to lift your right leg up and then eventually bring your right ankle right below the top of your left knee. So you've got a little figure four here. And then on your next exhale, you can bring that right foot down to the left-hand side of your body. Open up your arms and look out to the right side for a gentle twist on your spine. Inhale brings us back up to center to that original figure four. We'll let that right leg come down and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So bring that left leg up to the sky and then bring the left ankle right below the top of your right knee. And then on an exhale, bring that left foot down to the right hand side of your body. Open up your arms, spread your wings, and look off to the left hand side of your body for a gentle twist on this side. Now you can do figure four in a chair, you can do it standing. We just happen to be doing it in a supine position. Inhale brings us back up to center. Bring that left leg up to the sky. Bring it back to that original rest position we started with the left hand on the heart, right hand on the belly. And then bring your legs out in front of you as we settle into 2 minutes of Shavasana. Make sure we get out of here on time and on to your next practice. So as you get it settled into Shavasana, I invite you to make yourself just 10% more comfortable. Let your legs fall open, your feet fall off to the left and the right. Bring your arms off to the left or right hand side of the body. If you're seated in a chair, seated Shavasana is great too. Just invite yourself to be just 10% more comfortable so that nothing bothers you as you settle into your body. Now that's a little bit of a cheat because we cannot cut out the sounds of the dogs, the sounds of the lawnmowers, the phone ringing, the other sounds that are coming into us. All we can do is acknowledge it and return to the breath for our Shavasana practice. So use this as an opportunity to focus on your breathing and realize the only thing you can control is your breath. Take some deep breaths on your own. Your eyes can be closed or open. And although Shavasana is a quiet practice, I will keep talking so that you don't think that my connection is terminated or that we cause any anxiety, which is a great reminder that we can't close out all those sounds and things that are distracting us. We can only focus on the breath. You can stay in Shavasana for as long as you like, but as you are able, invite gentle movements into your fingertips, toe tips, stretch long or curl in tight, before eventually rolling to the left or right hand side, or just sitting up straight if you're in a chair, before we meet each other in a seated position to close out our practice. I'll invite you to take one more breath with me as we sit up tall. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Thank you for sharing this short practice with me, and be well.